So yeah, it's been a minute since I've put up a video for this series. I'm actually gonna switch over the format a bit. So here's what's gonna be. I'm gonna have a section on technique, a section on guitar theory, and a section on the genre I'm working on. In this case, blues right now. Now the reason for that is, unlike the other progress series where I have tab laid out and I just figure out how to get my head and my fingers around it. Uh, this one I have to ultimately figuring out my own thing. Now I'm using uh, a genre, in this case blues, where there are a bunch of riffs and the like that have already been established, and I can use that, and I most likely will. But the ultimate idea is for me to learn how to come up with playing things on my own. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to be doing anything original. I'll probably end up doing something that you've heard of, but the point is I want to get my brain thinking on how to do that and how to understand everything as it goes. So the genre is a point of focus, but the ultimate purpose of this series is to help me grow as a guitarist overall. So that's what we're going to do. So first off, here's the technique section. So for the technique section, obviously, I'm going to be working on my technique as a guitarist. As you heard in some of the 12 bar blues that I've played before, some of my notes end up getting clunky or missed or whatever. And I figure best way to start working on that would be going through fretting, left hand stuff. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. And actually, it kind of worked out great because when I started doing research on stuff to help my fretting, I came up with two exercises that actually help out. So here's the first one. So the first exercise is just a simple shifting exercise where I make sure to play each note. All the way up as far as I can go, and then back down. So yeah, that one pretty self-explanatory. That one helps me, but the part that I really want to focus on is this. So the thing I'm really focusing on with this part of it is making sure that I fret with the proper click. I believe I've gone over this before as I was starting to figure it out, but making sure I hit with the very top of the fingertip instead of just hitting with the whole pad. So going from this to this, and I'm already feeling it in my wrist, but I guess more practice comes in. So with the whole phrasing, I'm trying to make sure I hit the correct part of my fingertip each time. So far, that's easy enough. The thing that's tripped me up is when I bring it up to speed. So I can kind of do it, but usually, mainly pinky finger and sometimes with the ring finger, I end up being a little slow to catch on, so I end up hitting with the pad. So I got to make sure I get proper technique even when I get up to speed. So that's pretty much what that was going on. Here's the second exercise. The second exercise works on something that I haven't even paid much attention to, but turns out I really need, which is being able to stretch my fingers. I've already seen how that comes into play in a couple of chords that I haven't used yet, because not quite there yet. But yeah, I figured that'll help out as well when it comes to particularly this riff. Yeah, that one. So basically, the exercise is I'm gonna start on. I'm pretty much gonna have each finger cover a fret. So I'm gonna hit 1, 2, so basically the first two fingers. Then come back to 1, then stretch my middle finger out to 3. So as you saw in the first couple, my finger ends up shifting a little bit to come over the fret. I imagine it's okay as long as the correct note with my middle finger is there, but I figure it'll help me a lot to be able to really stretch out. And then do the same thing with 2 and 3, and 3 and 4. So right now they're shifting all the way over here. So I figured to help me build up to it, I move up the fretboard a bit to the see here, it's the 12 through 15 frets. So little easier to stretch that one. Yeah, see, with those last two fingers, it takes a little bit more work. And also, since I'm really reaching out to stretch, I end up hitting with the side of my fingers in some of these cases. So I really got to stretch out to make sure I can keep it on the fingertip instead of the pad or the side. So yeah, that's what I'm working on for that one. I'm going to build that up until my frame head is good and good at speed. So yeah, that's where technique is coming from. Next up, guitar theory. And the reason I'm going with guitar theory as the second section is that there's typically two different guitarists. The guitarists who just feel it out and don't really know any of the lingo or anything like that, or only know a bit, and the folks who learn more by learning, hey, this is a chord, this is a scale, etc., etc. I'm more the latter, so I figure I'll learn a little bit more about how it all goes together, and that'll give me some ideas of how to work on it. So to work on that, I actually decided to use uh, this book that I'm pretty sure I've referenced once before, Guitar Theory for Dummies. Bought this a few years back and still haven't gotten through to it. Pretty good reason to get into it now. And I think the first bit that I'm working on right now is familiarizing myself with the fretboard. I've got a decent grip on it, I guess, like as far as remembering what note is what. For example, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. I can kind of remember that along each string. It'll still take me a second to come back to it. So I figure learning and memorizing where each note is on each string will definitely help me move a little bit faster when it comes to uh, you know going a half step or whole step up, things like that. Also, getting more familiar when somebody says, "Hey, we're going to do in the key of A or the key of D." I actually have some idea where to go, and then I can pull off scales and modes and stuff from there. So yeah, right now that's what I'm working on, just making sure I remember things. So that's like I already did D, so let's try G. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Pretty simple, straightforward. To figure just start off and making sure I can remember what's what and go from there. And then figure I'll try to get more complicated once I actually have a good grip on it. So that's it for this one. So now we'll get into the genre portion.
I used to have a job, but I got laid off. I used to have a wife, but she said she had enough. I used to have a car, but it got repossessed. It seemed the Lord had found someone he likes to test. I've lost all a man could lose, that's why I sing the blues.
Okay, so like I said before, I'm going to use genre as a way to narrow my focus as far as being able to, establish a rhythm in a verse or how to solo things like that instead of just noodling with the pentatonic scale or anything like that. I mean, those things are important. I'm making sure I learn those, but I figure I should be able to be a little more versatile than just a couple of things. And with blues, yeah, I'm doing my digging into how I would, potentially end up jamming in a blues style of guitar playing. But one thing I neglected to mention is blues is a pretty wide area of discussion. So I figure in order to help out, or at least help myself a little bit more, I'm going to narrow it down. I've listened to a bunch of different genres of blues just to see what really hits me, and the big one for me is the Delta blues. There's something about the tempo for a lot of the uh, Delta blues songs that I've heard that really, that really keep my attention. I mean, I love so many of these different styles, but I figure I'm going to use that one as my flagship and potentially branch out into others in the course of the study. But yeah, Delta Blues is going to be where I start. So I got to start, doing my research on the likes of, Robert Johnson, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Sunhouse, et cetera, and then examine how, things have been put together in those styles. And listening to the artist will help me stay inspired. Yeah, that's how pretty much how I'm going to use the genre to narrow this down so I can really start jamming like an actual guitarist. But anyway, that's it for this one. Be able to get into it in full effect next time the Jam in Progress week rolls around. This is DJ, aka Five Guitars Guy. See ya.